Good evening. My name is Natasha Lewis. Welcome to my presentation on student engagement. Student engagement matters in online learning. First, I want to identify three key terms that you will hear in this presentation: student engagement, constructivism theory, and self-determination theory. So what is student engagement? Student engagement is the student's psychological investment in and an effort directed toward learning, understanding, or mastering knowledge, skills, or crafts that academic work is intended to promote. Constructivism. Constructivism is the theory that is based on the fact that students build knowledge rather than simply taking up information. In a constructivist classroom, students learn as they learn to learn. And learning is an active process. Students are able to pose questions, solve problems, and generate discussions. In constructivism, learning is also considered a social activity because students encounter real world issues. Constructivists also believe that knowledge gained is more personal, so it's easily retained or retained easier, and that motivation is the key to learning. When it comes to motivation, I want to go on and discuss the self-determination theory. This theory states that students possess three universal and psychological needs. The first being autonomy, which refers to a student feeling like he or she has a choice and is willingly endorsing their own behavior and academic performance. There's competence. Competence is the experience of mastery and being an effective element in your own learning, which results in student investment. Relatedness is the last term that we're going to discuss as far as self-determination. It is the feeling that a student is connected to peers, teachers, and even the content that is being studied. Both of these theories fuel engagement. There is a powerful connection between engagement and learning. Student engagement increases student satisfaction. It enhances student motivation to learn. It reduces the sense of isolation and improves student performances in online courses. One way to blend student satisfaction and learning effectively was highlighted in a study that examined the constructivism theory and how it affected 221 high school biology students as they maneuvered through the biology self-learning modules. This particular study was done to examine student engagement related to these modules. Researchers analyzed the content, learning and teaching activities, assessment and evaluation, and structure of these modules. Then they surveyed the 11th and 12th grade students and they interviewed them. The responses that they received from the students was based on identifying the features of the curriculum that could be retained through the interaction of students with the biology self-learning modules. Many responded that the graphics that were used coordinated well with the topics and helped them to understand and interpret the information better. Most of them found that the presentation of the topics were logically arranged and were presented in a way that tied into their other disciplines, the other subjects that they were studying, which is beneficial. Almost half of them agreed that the content was applicable to real-world issues, and they also responded and appreciated the ability to apply their learning to solve authentic and real-world problems. A large percentage of them stated that the module content was brief, concise, adequate, and detailed, which helped to deepen their understanding of the subjects. Additionally, a majority of the students viewed the modules as helping them to stimulate their thinking, allow them to express themselves, encourage them to utilize other resources, and enable them to construct their own understanding of the material. Now, as far as teachers are concerned, constructivism invokes teachers to encourage students to be independent and accountable for their own learning. It provides them, or it gives them, the opportunity to provide multiple perspectives for students and get multiple perspectives from students. The hope of this study was for teachers to strategically improve materials for online learning. The last study that I want to discuss is the experiment that employed 146 students from 8 universities that were surveyed to examine the 3 types of engagement. We have learner to learner, learner to instructor, and learner to content. The data was collected during a semester via an online survey that included 38 questions, and the responses ranged from 1 to 5, 1 meaning very unimportant and 5 meaning very important. Strategies like virtual lounges, online communications, threaded discussions, and online activities were evaluated. Students felt like learner to learner and learner to content engagement strategies were important. However, most participants named learner to instructor engagement as the most crucial and effective form of engagement strategies for online learners. They mentioned that getting timely feedback, frequent updates, pundit assistance, and the provision of meaningful and authentic learning experiences was beneficial and effective and prompted investment in their learning. The research that I did in this course has inspired me to become a proficient educational technology leader. As a classroom teacher, I have always considered engagement to be very important, yet challenging. One obstacle I face is that I instruct at-risk students, and many of them have little to no support or resources at home. That makes engagement even more difficult. During COVID, I had a few students that had no electricity, and I had some that had no internet. Now, we did provide internet services to students that received SNAP services. However, some of them didn't have a way to go sign up. So it makes engagement very challenging. But what I have learned in this course is that I have to be accountable for implementing activities and creating or designing authentic learning experiences for my students. And I need to also make sure that they are accessible and engaging to my students. Thank you for joining me in and listening to my presentation. Have a blessed and wonderful